Cohen. He has impressed me to no end. These are in my notes, but it's completely legit. Let's summarize. Oh man, I don't even know if I can do this. Let's summarize the last two. Rabbi Yisroel, if you can summarize, I give up. If you can summarize the last two segments.
I guess we were just speaking about the importance of riddles, literally talking in riddles, and what the point would be for the smartest man. I
would hate to have a friend or a colleague who spoke in riddles. Yeah, I would say, shut up and just get to the point.
Right.
Yeah, I couldn't tolerate it.
Correct.
Amazing. Okay, fine. I want to interject a part. I want to break away from what you're saying just to show my notes that we'll do in subsequent episodes. I have a methodology from Rabbi Schneerweiss, who has a similar show, but he goes one verse in 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
We try to do about 30 verses in 45 minutes. So I call this the modified Schneerweiss method. What he does is he looks at a verse, and what we would do is look at a section, a chapter, and we would say, we would test the theory on the words themselves. Does it flow from the words, or are we cramming things into it? And you're particular on the word. You're super particular on the words.
I try to be.
Yeah. Is it consistent with Torah belief in general? Is it consistent with the rest of the book of Proverbs in general? Is it true? Does it correlate with your personal life experience? Like the bad guys who try to make someone stumble.
Correct.
But they also make themselves stumble. I don't know if I have. Yes, I have life experience like that. Yes, I do.
100%.
Do you recall in your own personal experiences an instance to which a paragraph hits you and reminds you of something? I have a lot of things to say on that, but they'll all incriminate people. No, incriminate some people, some fools that I can't say more, but that's the facts. Okay, so hopefully in the future we'll follow this methodology where we have stumbled on it today. Okay, Rabbi Yisroel, please continue for the last and final segment.
This is the last segment?
This is what we got.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to share one riddle from the book of Proverbs that pertain to a very interesting creature. And that has to do with ants. I wanted to give an example of a riddle that you have to think back and get. I even did try it on my wife, I have to profess.
And a word from our sponsor, Raid. The ant...
I want to share this one very interesting idea that also hit me. It took me a while to figure it out. I couldn't wrap my head around it. And then sometimes the meaning is just right in front of your face. And, you just got to take a step back and just sort of get it. You know what I mean?
Are you purposely because I see where we are, the previous couple of sentences refers to sleep.
Nah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it does. I wonder if you...
So this has to do with being lazy.
Yeah.
Now, this is the idea of being lazy. Bruce, read the English. Take it away.
Lazy is chapter 6, verse 6. Lazy one, go to the ant. See its ways and grow wise. It has no officer. It has no overseer. It has no ruler. Yet it prepares its nourishment in summer and stores up its food at harvest time. Lazy one, how long will you lie down? When will you wake up from your sleep? See, it's a contrast.
There.
A little sleep, oh man, you hear that? A little sleep, a little slumber. I'm already okay. A little folding of hands to rest, and your impoverishment arrives like an unexpected visitor. Your lack like a shielded warrior. Shall I go on?
No, that's.
You see that little thing with the hands?
Right.
And it's a lullaby at least in English, there's a lullaby formation to it.
So now this is clearly a proverb, right? This is an example of an ant. This is the meaning of the proverb is don't be lazy.
Mm-hmm. I think don't be lazy is the antecedent to the ant. Couldn't resist.
Very good. But as we see later on from the chapters, that the ants are used as a riddle. Later on in chapter 28, 30, King Solomon, we don't have to get into it right now, but King Solomon uses ants.
I'm there.
I'm getting there.
30:24.
Someone wrote it. I wrote it down.
I got it, 30:24.
Go for it.
For, as in F-O-U-R.
What?
You got it?
Yeah, I see.
4 are of the smallest on the earth, yet they are extremely wise. Ants.
So basically, this was a riddle. Could you know 4, right? This would be a question of riddle. Name me 4 things that are extremely small.
That would be easy. But
Yet-
but significant would
Yet
be
they're
hard.
very wise, right?
Yeah, that I
this is
couldn't
a riddle
do.
question. Like,
Yeah.
And then the verse continues. Ants,
Though not a mighty tribe, prepare their food in summer. Rabbits, shall I go on?
you could go on.
Rabbits, though not a mighty tribe, make their home in the rock.
Right.
Locusts, though they have no king, all advance in formation. The spider, though in the palaces of kings, captures with its own hands.
Correct. So these are 4 different things, 4 different lessons that are learned from animals, from different types of creatures. So therefore, the ants are connected to the riddle. So going back to what we spoke about before, in chapter, where was it? Chapter 6. Go to the ant, you sluggard, or go to the ant, you lazy one.
Where are you now?
I'm going back
Okay.
to discuss, to share with you a riddle from ants, an ant riddle. I
Okay.
don't think you need to text.
Okay.
I'm going to share you a medrash.
Okay.
So briefly, Bruce, I got you.
you got me.
Briefly,
I was nodding off.
King Solomon says, go and observe the ant, you lazy person.
Mm-hmm.
See its ways, and you shall become wise. It has no overseer, ruler. Yet it prepares its food in the summer. It gathers its food at harvest. And the lazy person is supposed to sort of observe the ant and see, get the message. Don't be lazy. Simple.
Or you'll die.
Or you'll die. So there's a very interesting medrash. A medrash is a compilation of, I guess, lectures, exegesis, different types of material,
Homiletics.
homiletics, from the rabbis on Mishnah. And this is found in Medrash Rabbah. This is a very famous, but it's almost does fit with the text, as we'll see in a second.
Are you're trying to sort of force something in?
No, I don't think we have to for this one. I think
Yeah.
this one, it goes really well. So the rabbis begin that this ant has 3 different homes, makes 3 different compartments. It doesn't put any food in the top compartment because of the rain. The rain falls into it. It doesn't put any food into the bottom compartment because all the dirt falls into the bottom. Rather, it keeps it in the middle compartment. And this is the most famous piece. The rabbis say that an ant only lives for 6 months. An ant only lives for 6 months. Yet, and all it needs to survive is 1 grain of wheat, 1.5 grains of wheat, kernels of wheat. Yet it goes ahead and it gathers as much possible wheat and barley that it could collect. Why? Why? So the rabbis ask, why? Why does it need to gather so much?
It has a turn on switch. Why doesn't it have a turn off switch?
Correct. And this is the most fascinating
There's also
part.
there's an expense to its energy of storing more than it needs.
Correct, obviously. So the rabbis ask, Rabbi Tanchuma, Medrash Tanchuma, Rabbi Tanchuma asks, if it's only going to live for 6 months, it only needs a kernel and a half of wheat, why does it gather so much? Why does it spend the entire summer gathering? I mean, what's the point? The Medrash gives a fascinating answer. I mean, when I first read this, I obviously didn't know what it means. It says, because God might decide that I deserve longer life.
Amazing.
And I want to have food ready to eat. And the Medrash says, Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, the famous author of the Zohar, he says a story of how he one time found 300 kur. 300 kur is a
liter.
measurement of grain in an antvil. I'm sure you've seen those videos of how they dig out all those anthills. He found 300 kur of grain. Just to re-hit force on that point of how excessive they are in gathering their...
That's like 1,000,000 to 1 ratio.
Correct. So this is the riddle for you, Bruce. Let me see if you can get it.
Uh-oh. We gotta go now.
This is the riddle for you that I wanted to see if you could get. This is the riddle that to me, Mishlei meant the most so far. And it was like this, that if the ant does believe, and has such an excessive belief, that maybe there's a 1 in a million or 1 in a billion chance that God's going to add to my life. And the ant's life, like we said, is only for 6 months. So why can't it also believe that God's going to give it more food? But you're gathering this excessive amount of grain.
Right. So let me say, if he of A and the factors A and B, A being he's going to live. He may. How do I even say it? He's got a limited lifespan.
Correct.
It would be foolish to think he's going to live longer.
Correct.
And B is he's going to harvest enough food for his lifetime, but he harvests more. It's
Way
a
more. Excessively more.
It's not it's a parallel exponentially.
Correct.
It's not a parallel. Okay, fine.
Perpendicular.
No, I don't mean. Well, okay, whatever the hell. We got lost in homiletic. Okay. Okay, I don't know.
No, but think about it. This is the point.
It's energy on steroids. It's
correct.
Crazy energy.
It is.
It's energy I wouldn't recommend to someone.
Correct.
You wouldn't recommend to a student. You get a summer job, save your money to pay for the next year, but rob from banks also. Because you never know if you flunk out of university. It's too strange.
Yeah, so this literally was like what got me. And I know I'm telling you, I spent time trying to figure this out, and I don't even know if this is the right answer, but
it's the best you got.
This is the best I got so far.
Okay, fine.
So again, the question is, what is the ant doing?
Right.
What's the logic?
He's making two
this?
mistakes.
And why is this the message to the lazy one?
Okay. It actually, the lazy one would say the ant's crazy, lazy is just fine.
Correct. And I think maybe we'll see that point, that the lazy person is always saying everybody else is doing more than necessary. But the question that I want to answer is, why is this ingrained into the teva, into the nature of an ant, to prepare such an excessive amount of wheat? If it believes God might add on to its life, let it already believe that God will give him what to eat. And the answer is very simple. And this is the riddle. This is something that and I hope, Bruce, you get an moment.
Yeah, I'm salivating.
You ready?
Yeah.
The answer is because if the ant did believe that God would give him grain, then you would never be able to learn anything from it.
It's for us?
Obviously. Otherwise, you'd have nothing to learn from the ant. It would just collect the grain in half, and you would never know that it's not lazy.
There's what's it called, like racial superiority. This is species superiority. You're saying that we humans are learning from the ant. Therefore that's its value and essence is
Correct.
to teach us.
Otherwise you'd have no lesson. In other words, the need for the ant to harvest so much grain.
Well, I want to push I want to take a more aggressive tone to what you're saying. So if you look at an amoeba under a microscope, you look at a particle anywhere, you can't. It's not reasonable to say, what does this mean to me? There's an arrogance to say, what does it mean to me? Because not everything has a meaning
to you.
Right.
But everything,
or even possibly to detect it for years of thought.
But there are things that nature, or King Solomon says, observe nature, and you will become smart.
Okay.
And that's what I think he means when he says, go to the ant. Where are you going? Right.
What else do you see an ant doing?
Correct.
Well, hold on a second. They crawl over each other, and ants do a lot of strong things, and work as one organism.
Correct.
You would see I would see organization.
That's what it says over here. It has
I saw it.
It has no
captain.
No captain. But the idea here is that what the lazy one learns from the ant, it learns this message that the ant is doing it for you.
I'm having trouble refuting, trying to take that tone and refuting what you're saying.
But this is what struck me. Otherwise, if the ant just did both, which that's always the struggle between doing and not doing. Do you act? Maybe it's better not to act. Maybe, have trust, have faith, or believe.
Yeah.
This is one of the hardest challenges, I think, for anybody in this world is when did you do enough?
Right.
How much do you have to do? What's the limit?
Right. There's sometimes, again, to adopt an aggressive tone with you, some people that their neuroses.
Correct.
Is like that, yeah.
And some people are lazy. I'm sure lazy also has a condition.
Lazy, they're probably more lazy than hyperactive people.
Right.
Okay. So you want to summarize? Is now a good time to summarize and conclude on that note?
Yeah, that's
So please summarize the lesson you've taught.
So in short, we spoke a lot about riddles. We discussed why King Solomon wrote about riddles.
Mm-hmm.
We spoke about how the purpose of a riddle is to give it meaning, which is very similar to the purpose of life. Mm-hmm. And that's really the story of this ant. You could watch this ant, you could look at this ant and not get it.
Sure.
You could just think the ant is an excessive order. Mm-hmm. If you don't get it, then all it is nothing. It's just go look at an ant. You'll see anthills. But King Solomon decided to take a moment and observe the ant. And when he did so, he gave it meaning.
Mm-hmm. He attributed.
And by giving it meaning, he realized that the ant isn't just collecting it for himself. He's collecting it that humankind learn. Don't be lazy. There might always be a different situation where God will add life.
I'll tell you something I've said to people is parallel. I don't particularly find spirituality in religious legal texts. Mm-hmm. But when I look under a rock in the garden and see all those creepy things slithering about there, I see divinity. Mm-hmm. And now when I look towards that pesky damn ant in the house, and my wife's freaking out that I want to have an order to kill it, right? I'll see the diligence. Okay,
Very nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, how do our viewers get in touch with Rabbi Yisroel Cohen and buy his book on Egypt? And I'll hold up the cover again. And look at this technology. Did you ever see technology like this? How do we buy your book, Rabbi Yisroel?
So you can email me at briskerbaby@yahoo.com, BriskerBaby@yahoo. And my Twitter handle is @briskerbaby. Look me up. Share some knowledge. Share some wisdom.
Thank you, Rabbi Yisroel Cohen. Will you come back another time?
Probably not.
There's better places. To our wise viewers, please hit the share button and the subscribe buttons. Now that you've seen at least one episode of our show, you are a student of ancient literature.
Thank you.
You are a student of wisdom.
Yeah, Bruce.
You are more worldly than you were an hour ago.
Hopefully.
Would you agree? It's okay to be woke, but it's far better to be wise.
Very good.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a good week.
Take care.